Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Rustin. We are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. I apologize for the short delay this evening getting on. My middle school age son decided to take an incredibly long shower and it flooded our bathroom. So we were cleaning that up, which is why I'm a little behind this evening. I assume everything is working correctly. I haven't even really had a chance to check it. So here we go. You will notice Rustin has a different background tonight. In my haste to get on here, I forgot to even ask him where he is. Where are you tonight, Rustin?
I have no idea. Somewhere around the Georgia-South Carolina border. I'm not sure. I just saw an exit that had a brand new hotel in it, and so I stopped to stay there. Actually, I found out at the front desk I'm the first person ever to stay in this room, so I'm going to claim it as mine.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. You need to well, I was going to say carve your name on the door, but that'd probably be vandalism, so you probably shouldn't do that.
I probably find somewhere isolated to put my name.
Rustin Pierce, number one.
Yep.
Well, we are here to talk about the Tennessee Ole Miss basketball game. Fantastic performance by the Vols. Fantastic performance. Rustin, we always do this. If you're new to our show, we always do three things. We talk about our main takeaways from the game, who our player of the game was, which in my opinion is the most difficult question tonight. And then what our play of the game was. So Rustin, give us your thoughts, your immediate takeaways from the game.
I thought it was the most complete game they've played in 2 years, honestly. That is a really good Ole Miss team, and we made them look really bad. Memphis is going to be a really tough out in March. They are a very good team who are beating a lot of very good teams, and that Ole Miss team beat Memphis. So that team is not a joke. And to go out there and just manhandle them on both ends of the floor like they were just a average mid-major team was really, really impressive. I felt like we did anything we wanted to offensively. I mean, even in the first half, it was almost comical. Like the announcers kept talking about how poorly we were shooting in the first half, but we still had 40 points.
Yeah.
Like we go into the half with 40 points on the board and shot really, really poorly. But we were getting wide open looks. We were getting anything we wanted. And it was only a matter of time before they started going in. And boy, when they did, it was a free for all. Thought there was a lot of guys that just played extremely well. Everybody, you can kind of see, it's kind of cool to watch. You can kind of see everybody figuring out what their role is and really starting to play to it. And when our top 8 are healthy, they're really good.
That was another coach tonight or last night that referenced Tennessee being a Final Four team. That was Beard. He mentioned that in his post-game press conference. When coaches are saying that, you got something special going. Brent cracked me up. Welcome, Brent. Good to have you, buddy. He said, "Can't hide success, Rustin." First person ever in that hotel room. That's what I'm talking about.
I feel like I'm channeling Cole Kublik tonight. Like all of his Sunday night podcasts for the last several months have all been from hotel rooms. So I almost feel like I need to get a better angle so you can see the bed behind me because all of his podcasts, there seems to be a bed right behind him.
I'm digging the I guess that's a curtain over there.
I don't know what in the world that's about. It's
pretty sweet.
It's a very very contemporary hotel.
If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, like later tonight or tomorrow morning, you'll need to go back and watch at least look at the video version because Rustin's room is something like that. Is some stylish stuff over there behind you. Let's see. Zach said, "Spray your scent, Russ." Welcome, Zach. Good to have you, buddy. Cologne, not anything other than cologne. Let's see. A couple more comments coming through. I'll give my reaction first before we get to those. Jerry, welcome. Hey, that's a new name, I think. Welcome, Jerry. Good to have you, buddy. He said, "Go Vols." Absolutely. Here's my takeaways from the game. I got 3 of them, and I'm going to do something that I don't know if I've ever done before. Uh, I'm going to start with my first 2 takeaways are what the coaches said after the game. The first thing was Rick Barnes said that we were at our best tonight after the game. Okay. He never says that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, never. So the fact that he felt like they had played their best game speaks volumes as to just how well they played, because he never says that. And that's, that goes back to what Jemai Mashak said in his post-game press conference when somebody asked him and Jonas Adu, they said, Coach Barnes said that it's difficult for him to compliment people, and they both burst out laughing. And Jemai Mashak said, that is the most true thing I've ever heard in my life. So the fact that Coach Barnes felt like saying that unprompted, it felt like saying that in his post-game press conference, that speaks volumes.
I think some of that came from the fact that it was a Chris Beard team. Coach Barnes has struggled against Chris Beard in the past. He always seems to have his number, and his teams always seem to play Tennessee really, really well. And I think it was somewhat that he was like, hey, we've kind of overcome the hurdle here.
And that's going to be one of my kind of reference on my third point. The second thing was what Coach Beard said, and it was about TBA. He referenced the crowd in his post-game press conference. Who does that? Like, nobody does that. You don't go in an opposing stadium and then talk about how loud their crowd was and how great they were. And he did it. After the game, he referenced how much they impacted the game and how they made it difficult for them to communicate. And that's a major credit. Ricky just corrected me. He said it's not TBA, it's the FCC.
Never.
I guess it's the FCC ATBA. There you go. Food City Center at Thompson Bowling Arena. That is a tremendous credit to the Tennessee fans, all nation, that the opposing coach felt like they were that much of an impact on the game. And then the third thing is kind of what you just mentioned. And I'm going to try to be careful when I say this because I don't want to give away my player of the game, but we have seen even this year, and I keep going back to that Kansas game, but we have seen this year Tennessee go on long scoring droughts and shooting droughts. And, I'm specifically, I'm thinking of that almost 8-minute long drought against Kansas. That we've seen that happen. And we've kind of seen them be able to work through it and stuff. We have never seen them shoot themselves away out of it like they did last night. That was fantastic to see. And I think what makes it even more impressive is what you said about Chris Beard and his teams. The only 10 UC's got a good guess down there. I'll get to that in a second. So Chris Beard, you think about his teams at Texas Tech, and they were known for their defense. Like, that's what they were known for. And they were playing excellent defense, on-ball defense last night. Zakai was really the only guy who could really get the offense going. When Gainey had at one point late in the first half, he couldn't even get the offense started because they were regarding him so hard. And, they were playing excellent defense, on-ball defense and stuff like that. And we were still – the offensive movement was so impressive, and the passing, that they were able to get open looks for themselves in spite of really good hard defense. And that's, I remember multiple possessions down the court. We were moving so much and dribble penetrating, kicking the ball out, making an extra pass. And it's impossible to defend if you're doing that. And that was incredibly impressive to see. That was a huge, factor, in my opinion, seeing how well they played on offense, moving the ball. It was fantastic. Let's see what some other folks are saying in the comments about the game. Zach said, did I or did I not tell you Ole Miss was not going to be a problem for us? He said, just because they were 13-0 doesn't mean a thing. They hadn't played anybody, and
Mm,
when they did get, they got handled like handed like cake to a fat kid.
no, they beat a Sweet 16 level Memphis team. They beat an absolute tourney team in Temple. They've beaten some pretty good teams.
Brant said, "Bro, sorry I missed the last couple of live events. The plague descended on my house during the holidays. Oh man, I'm sorry." He said, "Anyway, happy New Year. Hey, happy New Year, Brant. Man, I hope everybody's feeling better now. That is definitely not fun to be sick during the holidays, and so hope y'all are doing better." Brant said, "Is Kinnett struggling due to team's game planning for him? Do you think something else is going on?" Okay, I'm glad you said that because you reminded me. My last takeaway that I forgot to mention was if there was anything negative about last night, it's that Dalton's still struggling. I mean, he played better last night for sure, but he is not scoring like he was at the beginning of the year. He's trying to. I think he's trying to figure out SEC play and playing against teams of Of course, I mean, I was going to say playing against teams of better athletes than what he's been playing against at the beginning of the year, but he went off against Michigan State and North Carolina.
Yeah,
I mean, he can play. I don't know what's going on.
I wonder if he's a little banged up. Like he's not as bouncy as he was at the beginning of the season. I mean, he made a couple of good moves last night. The one alley oop that Zakai threw that was just a terrible pass that Dalton hung in the air and caught and finished off the glass. That was impressive. But when you watch him attack the basket, it's not as ferocious as it was against Michigan State and North Carolina and Arizona and Purdue. So I'm wondering if he's a little banged up. Because he's not attacking as strongly and as frequently as he was at the beginning of the season. And sometimes that's just I'm trying to avoid deeper injury. I mean, the reality is it's almost like he's the second alternative. If they can't establish a post game, then it's like, okay, Josiah, Jemai, Dalton start attacking. And if they can't establish a post game, then those three guys are going to start slashing to the basket. The last couple of games, we've established a pretty stinking good post game. I mean, it didn't matter who was in yesterday. If it was Jonas or Tobe, they were pretty much having their way inside. So there wasn't really a need for people to attack the basket.
Against two guys who are over 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like that was incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Incredibly impressive. Brant also asked, do you think Barnes was sending a message by shortening the bench? Yeah, and I think it's also SEC play. I think that this is where it counts. I mean,
yeah. Freddie DeLeon needs to step it up. Like he should be playing right now. They need him to play a little bit right now, even if it's just 6 to 8 minutes a game. Just something to give, to spell Zakai, spell Santi, so they've got fresh legs in March. Even 6 to 8 minutes a night can be a huge positive. And he needs to figure out what it means to play at this level. JP Estrella is another one. We've got to establish a third post guy. I mean, we've clearly said we're going to go 4 guards in 1 post. That's our new system. That's what we do. But on the off chance that somebody gets injured or we have a crazy night where, one of the amazing SEC officials decides to call 40-something fouls and all of a sudden Jonas and Tobe are both in foul trouble, we need JP Estrella to step it up and be a good third alternative.
For sure. Zach said Dalton watched the Vol Bros episode where they compared him to a Vol great. Now he's back down to earth. Yeah, that's our fault. We jinxed him. That's our bad, guys. Shortly after that is when everything started going downhill for him. So we'll take the hit for that one. That's our fault. Doug said the Vols looked like a Final Four team last night. He was agreeing with Chris Beard. He said Chris was very complimentary of everybody in orange at the press conference. Mr. Jones.
Think about this. Last night, I mean, we're sitting here talking about Dalton Knecht being a non-factor. Think about what we just said. Our leading scorer was a non-factor, and we beat an undefeated top 25 team and scored 90.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. That's good night.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. Not bad. Mr. Jones has given us his players of the game. He said Meshack and Adu are his players of the game. I think those are great choices. Very good choices. The only 10 you see said, I bet Evan's player of the game is Zakai Ziegler. We'll see here in just a second. That's a pretty good guess. Ricky said they don't say welcome to Rocky Top anymore. They say welcome to Food City Center. Money talks, doesn't it, Ricky? But we know it's Rocky Top, and it's Thompson Bowling Arena.
If anyone knows the Smith family, if Food City would like to sponsor the Vol Bros, we will also say welcome to Food City.
Yes, we sure will. Welcome to the Vol Bros, or welcome to the Food City Center podcast at the Vol Bros channel.
Yep.
We sure will. We sure. $10 million. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
We'll do it for 10,000.
Yeah.
It's one
Carl
store.
said, yeah. Carl said, Adu's my player of the game. Great choice. Fantastic choice. The only 10 you see said, I'm really proud of Barnes this year, encouraging the players to keep shooting. Yes, totally agree. She said, even allowing so many threes, definitely not his comfort zone, but he's adapting.
He is.
And he actually said that in his post-game press conference last night. He mentioned that. And he said, I told him, you got to keep shooting. Keep your confidence up, keep shooting the ball. Look what it's done for Jemai Meshack. He hit 3 threes last night. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would never have happened last year. So kudos to Jemai, and we hope it keeps on going. Let's see.
The game has changed, and analytics have really changed the way people view the game. And Rick Barnes made a comment a couple of weeks ago. He was like, "You've got to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, and you got to be willing to listen to them." He's got Greg Polinsky sitting on the bench. Greg was in the NBA for a long time, has coached at a very high level, and is very much an analytics guy. And I think Coach Barnes is really starting to pay attention to the numbers that Greg's putting together, and he's saying, there's some value to this. And high volume shooting equals high volume scoring, and sometimes threes are sometimes a few threes are better than a bunch of twos, and they're starting to really play that way.
And it just takes one to go in.
Yeah.
And when you see it go through the nets, all of a sudden more start going through the nets. It's weird how it happens. I don't get it, but that's the way it works.
Yep.
Shooting's contagious, just like hitting in baseball. Carl said Ole Miss at the beginning of the game was playing like our Tennessee. They're playing aggressive defense, hustling. He's right. Zach said he's not taking Memphis seriously. He said they always look good and then they fade out.
Yeah, that's not my words. National analysts are already saying they're a Sweet 16 team. I mean, they are really, really good.
Carl, thank you so much, man. Carl just gave $10. He said it's Thompson Bowling Arena. I'm with you, buddy. You have both of our votes. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carl. It's very kind of you. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see here. Mr. Jones bringing the puns. He said Dalton can't connect to Wi-Fi, but nice, very good.
Let me just real quickly tell you about that Memphis team. That Memphis team is now 13-2. One of their 2 losses is Ole Miss, 80-77. Listen to some of their top 25 wins. They beat number 22 Virginia 77-54. They beat number 13 Clemson. They beat number 21 Texas A&M, and that is a very good Texas A&M team. They beat Missouri 70-55. They beat Michigan 71-67. They beat number 20 Arkansas 84-79. Okay, so
wins.
Their only other loss besides Ole Miss is Villanova. Okay, they are 13-2 with 5 top 25 wins. That's a good team.
And for anybody who may have just joined us, Rustin was talking about Memphis just then. Doug said, "Do you think Coach Rick Barnes should have subbed in the younger guys when we were up by 25 with 5 minutes left?" What? Why are you shaking your head no? And then I'll give my answer.
He's sticking to his guns. He has called them out publicly. Rick Barnes never says anything in a conference without a reason. And in his press conference a couple of weeks ago, he made a point to say minutes are earned. You have to learn how to practice the right way before we let you play in the game. And until those guys prove in practice that they understand the level of intensity and the level of urgency that's needed, he's not going to put them in. And they're gonna figure it out. And so, he's going to stick to his guns until they decide that they're ready to play at the maximum intensity level. They're never stepping on the court.
So my answer to this is the one thing that over the last 2, 3, 4 years that I always at the end of games I'm like, man, he should start some people in. That's just his pattern. I vividly remember games, in years past where Tennessee's up by 20 points. There's 2 minutes left, and we still got the starting 5 in the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, now'd be the time to get some other dudes in there. Especially I don't know, maybe that's like a psychological thing, but there's like a hierarchy in my head. The under 4 minutes media timeout. If you're up by 30, you put in the subs. If at the 2 minute mark, if you're up by 20, you can put in the subs. That's how I kind of view it. But that is not how Coach Barnes views it, and he never has. That has been that's his standard mode of operation. He always does that. He leaves them in until there's probably 30 seconds left, and then he might sub some dudes in. Ricky said, Dad and I were talking during the game. Dalton's ankle's really bothering him. Just see how different JJJ is. That's a great point. Josiah's finally healthy. We're looking at him like, man, this is what we've been waiting for. I think that's a great point. Mr. Jones says, does his effort on defense take out of him on offense? I don't think so. Something happens when you get the ball in your hands, and all of a sudden you're not tired anymore. Once you get the ball in your hands, it's different. And so
if you look at the minutes, like he's clearly hampered because they're shortening his minutes. They're not playing him as they're not playing. He only played 19 minutes yesterday. They're definitely, anytime you see that much of a swing in minutes in a short period of time, it's usually a trainer saying, okay, tonight I'll let him go 15. Okay, tonight I'll let him go 20. And they're trying to slowly bring a guy back.
Doug said, good night, Vol Bros, Vol Nation. I'll watch the replay. Hope everybody has a great week. Hey, thank you, Doug. We appreciate you joining us, buddy. Thank you. Hope you have a good evening. Let's see. Carl said, Gainey needs to play better, game awareness and ball security. I agree, totally.
I feel for that kid. He plays really, really hard, and it is really hard when your dad's sitting on that bench.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know if you noticed it, but against I can't remember which game it was. There was a game about 2 weeks ago. Justin did something, and Jordan did something, and Justin was livid on the bench and immediately grabbed Jemai Meshack and sent him to go get him. Coach Barnes didn't even flinch. Like, he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. Justin Gainey lost his mind on the bench. And the whole way off the court, he was just ripping Jordan. And Jordan walked past him on the bench. The whole way by, he's ripping him. Jordan went and sat on the end of the bench. The whole time he's sitting there, Justin was leaned over ripping him. And it wasn't anything big. It looked like he probably just miscommunicated something that was on the scouting report that they were supposed to do. And his dad lit into him. And, so it's hard when your dad is sitting there, especially, it's not like high school where you're just playing for your dad and it's a kind of a neat experience. I mean, these men's livelihood is on the line. So this is a very different level. It's hard enough when your dad's your coach. It's even harder when he's, playing at a Power 5 school.
For sure.
It was nice to see him get a little comfortable last night, hit a couple of shots. I thought overall he played well. He's still, you got to remember, that kid was playing in the Big South last year. He didn't see hardly anybody like what he's seeing on a nightly basis right now. So it's going to take him a little bit.
Jared mentioned as well, Gainey's also struggling, not just Dalton, and he's right. I mean, he's not, he's still getting used to this level, I think. And the thing that could be the absolute best possible thing to happen for Jordan Gainey is for him to see an open three go in. And that'd do wonders for him. Last night he was missing shots and stuff, but the only thing last night that was like, man, you can't do that, is when he had a very lackadaisical pass and dude just took it straight from him. Like the guy guarding the ball took the ball from him on the pass. You just can't do that.
He hit a big one last night in the middle of the first half when everybody else was struggling. We had a really nice possession where we got 3 ball swings, got it to him in the corner. He was wide open, and he took it with confidence and knocked it down. And, it was good to see that. It just speaks to Rick Barnes over there going, just keep shooting, just keep shooting.
Yep.
He responded.
And there's no telling how many shots Jordan's putting up in, Pratt Pavilion every day right now. Mm-hmm. There's no telling. Because he wants to hit them too, He don't want to be like that. Zach said, in reference to the Food City Center, he said, Rocky Top, you'll always be sounds much better than Food City Center, you'll always be. I agree. That's a great point, Zach. That's a great point.
Doesn't have quite the ring to it.
It's not as catchy. The only 10 you see said, Rustin, you sweet on Memphis.
So actually, I can't stand Penny Hardaway. I think he's one of the things that's really wrong with college basketball, but I can appreciate the fact that he has assembled a crazy talented team, and they're playing really well.
Zach said, if we play him in March, they'll have at least one more L. Let's see. The only 10 you see said, better Jordan than me. I played with my dad as my coach one time. That's the end of the story.
One time.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Mr. Jones said Josiah was attacking the rim, which was good to see. Yes. Josiah is a major reason why we had 40 points in the first half.
He is 100% healthy, and that dude's playing himself into a draft pick right now.
Oh, gosh. Mr. Jones said Penny doesn't know the easy way, just the harder way. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, on that note, let's get to you want to do play of the game or player of the game first?
Either one, whatever you want.
All right, let's do play of the game because mine's weird. So,
okay.
You want me to go first or you want to go first?
I'll go. Just because it was just a freakishly athletic play, I'll go back to the alley-oop I mentioned a second ago, especially if Dalton is dealing with an injury. When Zakai tried to throw that alley-oop and just completely missed the pass, and Dalton hung in the air like what felt like for like 6 seconds and somehow caught the ball behind his head and still finished off the glass. Like, that's just different. Like, human beings don't do that. That's elite level athlete stuff. So I would go with that.
I think that's a great choice. So mine, and I so wish that there was like some stat that could track this, but I don't know when I've seen one possession last over 2 minutes before in the last however many.
The one with like 17 offensive rebounds.
Yes. Yes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it was the under 4 timeout was when that finally was a dead ball. It went to a media timeout.
Yeah.
So we got the ball with like 6 minutes left. No. We got the ball with like 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And there was finally a dead ball with less than 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
So for over 2 minutes, we had possession of the ball. And that was so intelligent of the players to,
mostly Josiah.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
He just kept snatching rebounds and kicking it out.
Yep. There was one rebound on that possession or possessions in particular where he got a rebound and he could have had an easy wide open layup right there, but instead he pulls it back out and runs another 20 seconds off the clock. I've never, I don't know if I've ever seen it before in my life.
My favorite one was when he got the offensive rebound like 2 feet from the basket and dribbled it all the way to half court and handed it to the guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it was wild. That was fantastic. They literally over 2 minutes in one possession, they were able to take off the clock because of offensive rebounds. That was fantastic. That was easily my play of the game.
So if any of you have ever seen Chris Beard do a coach's clinic or any kind of a coaching video, you know he's basically a lunatic. So I would love video footage of the Ole Miss film breakdown today, because I guarantee you this 2.5 minutes you're talking about is all they're watching. Like he's knowing Chris Beard, he deleted the rest of the game and he's just showing this 2.5 minutes on repeat and just screaming at dudes. Like that's who he is.
I mean, seriously, I don't know. I would love to hear, when the last time a team had possession for that long in the shot clock era, because you can't just sit there and hold the ball. I mean, like you got to shoot it, and that was incredible. And then
we missed a lot, but we got them all.
Yeah, and to after that over 2 minute long possession, they end it with a made basket. Like that was incredible. That was a we are dominating this game moment. I mean, like that had to be so deflating if you were a coach for Ole Miss, because you're like, well, they are 100% better than us. I mean, like that doesn't happen unless the team is just, I mean, that's like a high school varsity team playing a middle school JV team to keep the ball that long. Of course, there's not even shot clock in that situation, but it was incredible. Mr. Jones said it was a clinic. It absolutely was. It absolutely was. It was fantastic to watch. So that was my plays of the game. I don't know if you can call it one or multiple, but that was my play of the game. So some of the other folks chiming in. Mr. Jones had a great choice. He said Meshack's buzzer beater 3 at halftime. Great choice. Dude, that was beautiful. Pump fake. I mean, beautiful.
What was even more impressive was, since when does Jemiah have that kind of confidence? I mean,
for real.
He like, you knew he was shooting it from the time he caught it, and he gave that shot fake. Like he knew exactly what he was going to do with the ball when he caught it. It was just beautiful.
Yep. The only thing you see said Penny's classic commercials are still so good. He gets a pass from me. I like it. That's the late 90s at its finest right there. I like it. That's good. Those commercials were fantastic. Elijah said, hey, y'all, I'm here. The basketball team is so good. Welcome, Elijah. Good to have you, buddy. And I agree. They are playing very well. Carl agreed with you. He said super athletic play by Connett. Elijah said the top 3 teams in the country are kind of good, though.
So the other thing that made that play by Dalton even better was having Dane Bradshaw on the play-by-play.
Yeah.
This was the moment in the game when whoever the other guy was with him started saying, "You're like a celebrity here," and Dane was like, "Yeah," and they all have short memories. They all come up and go, "Hey, you remember when you hit that shot?" And he's like, "I was a terrible shooter." Or he's like, I'm suddenly an amazing athlete. He goes, I was the most unathletic guy on the floor, but that's not what anybody remembers. So I just play along. Listening to Dane Bradshaw,
who am I to tell them they're wrong?
Right. Listening to Dane Bradshaw break down his inadequacies in light of Dalton Connett's athleticism was just priceless.
Let's see. Zach agreed. Meshack's 3 at halftime, the pump fake, and then made the shot. That was his play of the game. Totally agree.
Yep.
The only 10 you see said, my play of the game is whatever Rick Barnes said at halftime, because they came out with their hair on fire in the second half. Great point. Great point.
What's crazy, though, is if they had just shot slightly better in the first half, they would have scored 50 in the first half.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have taken much.
Absolutely. Eric said, "What's up, Vol Bros? Good win for Tennessee basketballs. Absolutely, absolutely. Good to have you, Eric." Excuse me. Let's see. Mr. Jones says Zakai plays like the biggest dude on the court. He
Yep.
does, man. He was in control of that. He ran the show last night, which is what you want your point guard to do.
I want to see more point guards on the opposing team run their mouth at him because he feeds off that.
Yeah.
When that dude from Long Island started running his mouth, it was like, oh, this is going to be a good night.
Let's see. Zach said it's really hard to pick just one play when you think about the last night. I agree. That's a good point. The only Tennessee said I think we really struggle against the bigger, more athletic teams. I mean, I get that. That was a pretty good sized team last night. Overall, they weren't as big as Illinois, but they had two dudes who were bigger than Illinois. You think about who Tennessee has played this year. They've had to play Edey and then 2 7-footers last night. I mean, that's some.
And that bunch, honestly, that was part of what impressed me more than anything. That bunch last night was a really physical team. I mean, they even commented on it during the show. Chris Beard told them pregame, he was like, I didn't inherit an empty cupboard. Like Kermit Davis did a good job teaching these guys how to be physical and play hard. And, he's done that everywhere he's been. So you take guys that learned work ethic and physicality under Kermit Davis and then put a lunatic like Chris Beard in front of them, like the physicality goes through the roof. So I think that's probably honestly what impressed me more than anything about last night was we bullied them. I mean, all over the court. And that's not – Chris Beard teams don't get bullied. Like that.
That's exactly right.
Shocking.
Mr. Jones with the Lakers reference, may Kobe or he may Shaq. But let's see. Oh, I misunderstood Elijah. My bad, man. He said he means Tennessee's top 3 kind of good. Maybe even top 2. Zach. Zach said nobody's better than Tennessee or bigger. Forget that they have 3 losses. Nobody's better than them. I love it, man.
Except for the current number 1 and number 2.
Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Jones said they're the top 1. Top 3, top 2, not top 1. Nobody's better than Tennessee. Let's see. Eric said Zakai played out of his mind again. I believe he's finally back. Amen. He said he's finally back to his old self. Agreed. Totally agree. Zach said they are rougher, they are tougher, they're the Vols of Tennessee. Let's see. Only Tennessee said, I mean, the teams that have 5 big starters, Arizona, Kansas, etc., wasn't dissing my squad, just realized where they struggle.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I'd agree with you, absolutely.
Yeah, teams that can match our physicality, it's definitely, it always turns into a rock fight. It's definitely an issue. Honestly, well, I'll wait on this till player of the game.
Elijah said 3 losses before Zakai started looking like himself, though. Completely different team with him back. I mean, that's fair. We are a very different team right now than we were at the beginning of the season. Carl said he hopes Purdue falls early in the tournament. Well, after last year, that'd be very interesting to see what happens. Mr. Jones said we're always the top 10 team. Nice. So player of the game, and y'all let us know who your player of the game is in the comments as well. Rustin, who was your player of the game?
That's a tough one because first of all, you had 2 players with double-doubles in 2 different ways, which is just incredible. Like I don't know the last time I heard that happening in a Tennessee game. Zakai is definitely back to 100%. He might be the best point guard in the SEC right now. Josiah, I don't know that Josiah could be playing any better. I think he's playing his best the entirety of his career at Tennessee right now. Jahmai was plus 12 yesterday. Like when your 6th man is plus 12, you're going to win a lot of games. he's and it's amazing. Like that guy comes in the game, and I know I sound like a broken record, but every time Jemai Meshack comes in the game, the complete tone, the physicality, the speed, everything changes the minute he steps on the court. It's incredible. But I was a little hesitant or questioning of Jonas Adu last week. Little concerned about his lack of physicality. And that Joker went out there yesterday against a starting guy that's 7'5", whose backup is 7-foot Musa Cisse, who was one of the most highly recruited post players in America a couple of years ago, playing for Chris Beard. So you've got two 7-footers playing for a raving lunatic who demands physicality, and Jonas owned them. Like it was incredible the moves he was making in the paint, and he set the tone for the entire night. 24 and 10 against two 7-footers. That's NBA money type stuff. Like that's the kind of thing NBA scouts watch and go, oh, okay,
Absolutely.
This dude can do this. So I'll go with Jonas, but man, so many options.
I totally agree. And it is very difficult to choose this because, you look at obviously Jonas Adu, because like you said, he had 24 points, 10 rebounds. You look at Zakai Ziegler as another double-double. You look at Jemai Meshack, who came in and gave them unbelievably important minutes off the bench. He had his best offensive game maybe of his career. He had some good games last year too, but I mean, shooting the ball better than we've seen. I totally agree with Dane Bradshaw. In the second half, Dane said, I wonder what would have happened if Tennessee hadn't hit that three at the end of the first half and Ole Miss went into the locker room with the momentum on their side. I wonder what would have happened when they came out in the second half. So you could easily make a case for Jemai Meshack. Josiah Jordan-James, you could easily make a case for him. He was the consistent scoring option, him and Jonas in the first half. There was a long stretch there where, not a long stretch is what we've seen like in the past, but there were a few minutes there in the first half where Tennessee couldn't hit shots. But Josiah Jordan-James was driving the middle of the paint, getting short jumpers in the middle of the paint, and he kept providing offense consistently throughout that time. His rebounding, his defense, he was the stalwart last night. He was the one that was consistent, on the whole game. So you could easily give it to him. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Zakai because he, as the point guard, it is your job to run the show. It is your job to not have turnovers. It is your job to set the tone on defense and protect the ball, get the team in the offense, make good decisions on offense. And he did all of that, and he scored. It was a fantastic performance. And it was a lot of fun to watch. His energy on defense, my goodness. I mean, dude had surgery just like, 13 months ago? If that, maybe less. I mean, like it's incredible what he's able to do. And so it was wonderful to see him back playing the way that we expected him to play this year or hoped he would play after the surgery. He was my player of the game. And I mean, really, like I said, you could pick 4 or 5 guys and give it to any of them and be totally justified in any of them. So that he would be my player of the game. In the comments, let's see what we got going here. Mr. Jones said Adu was his player of the game. Absolutely. Great pick. Elijah said Zakai, he brought the energy we needed. Only Tennessee, great choice. Rick Barnes, player of the game. Hey, that's a great choice. Zach said Adu, Zakai, and Awaka on defense. Mr. Jones, he said Nico was a player of the game. LOL, absolutely, man.
Y'all better slow that down. You better stop hyping that kid. Remember, he's not even 19 yet. Like, slow your roll.
Carl said, agree. The only 10 you see, he said, Barnes has been doing his best coaching and especially player rotation management I've seen him do. Zach said, great weekend for Tennessee sports basketball, men and women won. The Titans knocked the Jags out from the playoffs. Absolutely.
I wouldn't count the Titans in Tennessee sports. And until they fire that front office and Mike Vrabel, they're basically the Patriots of the South, and I refuse to accept them.
Carl said, kudos to the refs for allowing the players to play. No ticky-tack calls. They were allowing players to play. There's no doubt about that. They were. It was a very physical game, and they were letting it be physical. So I agree with you. I mean, kudos to them for that. They did not insert themselves into the game. I'll put it that way. The only thing you see, they say, Carl, I think I'm going to take back my selection. Mr. Jones has convinced me Nico's bowl performance affected basketball play. That's pretty good. Elijah said way less than 13 months ago was the surgery. He got injured 11 months ago.
Yeah.
Was it December or January?
Right.
It must have been January.
It was January. He's right.
So his surgery, I guess, was in February.
Yep.
So, yeah, 11 months ago is when the surgery happened. Yep. Eric said he agrees Zakai was his player of the game. He's by far the best point guard in the SEC in Eric's opinion. The only thing you see said Rustin's too late. Statues being made.
Clearly.
Iamaleava drive is happening.
Got to find a right tackle.
Brent said, fair enough. I'm voting for Nico too. Let's see. Zach said, Rustin, you're spicy tonight.
I've driven 12 hours in the last 2 days. So I'm chippy.
Well, I just said it was late February, right before March. It wasn't in January. Oh, okay. I got you. Let's see. I'll tell you what, the one thing I do remember about that injury is how silent TBA got real fast. Even on TV, it was totally silent. Ricky was there. Ricky, he can chime in if he's still watching. Ricky was there. He said Ricky was actually about 30 feet away from where Zakai went down. And he said he was screaming so loud. Yep, there you go. Yeah. And he said you could tell immediately it was horrible. Like Zakai immediately went down and got so silent in there. He said it was kind of creepy how quiet it was actually. So massive win for the basketballs. Someone will put a lay on the Neyland statue this year. Boogie. I bet he's right, actually. I bet Tri-Cities Hall is right.
I would bet it's already there, actually.
It might be, actually. Tri-Cities Hall, that's a great prediction. That is, I'm sure that will happen, actually, yes. The only 10 you see said, got to head out and spend time with the hubby. Enjoy, guys. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We're glad you were with us. I hope you have a great evening. Huge win for the Vols. A huge win for the Vols. I think it's important to note before we sign off. Let's see. Eric said, "I agree with Rustin.
I opened Pandora's box.
Our Vols have to find a good right tackle with experience playing right tackle. That position on the O-line has me worried because got to have all the linemen on that offensive line to protect Nico." I agree. So that was the last thing I was going to mention this evening and end our show with that. Yes, Tennessee did miss on the dude from Kansas. Has Lance Hurd said where he's going yet?
No, he's taking visits.
I didn't think so.
He's taking visits to Tennessee and Oklahoma.
He was at Tennessee this weekend. I've not heard anything or seen a recap or anything about his visit from VolQuest yet. I could be wrong. They may have already released it later this evening.
I was in the car all afternoon. Where did the kid from Kansas choose?
He picked Why am I drawing a blank?
A&M.
I think so. Somebody in the comments let us know. But he announced today that he was going elsewhere, and now I cannot think of where that was. So if somebody in the comments can let us know, that'd be really good. Texas A&M. Eric said it was Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah. Carl said Heupel tweeted "Go Big Orange." He said it was A&M. So when did Heupel tweet that? That's my question. Because that happens when there's a commitment, and so maybe Hurd committed. That'd be good. I doubt Heupel would break his moment and announce it beforehand.
If it was this afternoon, it was probably the tight end from Texas.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Tri-Cities Vol said that the kid from Kansas chose Texas A&M because he's from Texas. Carl said it was about 2 or 3 hours ago, so I bet that was for that 2025 tight end.
That was we got a 2025 tight end this afternoon. He's a 4-star kid who chose Tennessee over Southern Cal. Really good player, had 20 Power 5 offers, really good get, honestly, and just kind of came out of nowhere. But
I think Alabama was an offer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he narrowed it down to, which nobody knew this, but privately he narrowed it down to Tennessee and USC, and Tennessee beat Lincoln Riley for a tight end.
Zach said, anyone said the Mancuso video of Tony Vitello? Yes, it was absolutely hilarious. I would recommend everybody going and watching that. And apparently it's not the last one either, because Tennessee Baseball's account said, look for more videos in the future. So apparently the Tennessee baseball team, they loved it, and they want to keep doing videos like that. So they're going to do more, which I'm excited about. Trustees Vol said, do you think they'll wait till after spring practice to see what they have to get in the portal? I mean, I definitely think you'll see movement after that. But I think they know they got to get somebody for offensive tackle. And I mean, I'm going to be shocked if it's not the Hurd kid, because his cousin is now going to be playing at Tennessee. Chris Brazel, his brother, committed to Tennessee over the week, this past week. So you mean it makes sense that families would want to go to the same place to watch their whole family play. So that's why I think you got a really good shot at the Hurd kid. And now he sees that there's an opening for him right now. And I will say this, Tennessee's offensive line class that they've signed, I think people should be excited about them. I don't think it's like, a bunch of first round draft picks by any means, but it's a good group. It's a good offensive line group. So I think that's something that Tennessee fans should be excited about. They might at least be able to provide a little depth. But I agree, we need at least one more. If assuming Hurd is coming, we still need one more guy, in my opinion, that's a good offensive lineman.
So I try to listen to Matt Zenitz as much as humanly possible. If you all are interested in following him on Twitter, he's MZENITZ, M Zenitz, which is obviously short for Matt Zenitz. He is a reporter for 247, and for whatever reason, every kid in America apparently talks to him. He predicted Quinshon Judkins going into the portal before it happened. He has been pretty much the exclusive on every portal signing that's happened so far. And so he's extremely knowledgeable about what's happening in the portal. And so I listened to everything he does. And Friday he was on a podcast, and I was actually, again, 12 hours in the car the last 2 days. I was listening to lots of podcasts, and he was on one, and he made the comment. He was asked, is the portal season done and is the chaos done? And he said, no, the chaos is definitely not done. It's only just started. He said there's going to be a lot more of movement that people are not going to expect, that are going to blow people's minds. He said, and what's going to be the catalyst is there's about to be a lot of coaching movement that people aren't expecting. Which was interesting. He said there's about to be some coaches jumping ship and going to programs that people weren't expecting, and it's going to create havoc in the portal, that there's some key players that are kind of on tenuous footing, And when these coaches changes start happening, they're all going to jump in the portal because they're not going to be with the new guy. So he said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. He said, we're about to see a lot of big name players enter the portal. The other thing he said that was fascinating, and I honestly didn't know this, every team, there's not a true portal deadline if you're in a bowl. Every single team has up to 6 days after their bowl game to consider entering the portal. So the portal's technically open till next Saturday because Michigan and Washington play Monday night, and those players get 6 days after that. And Matt Zenitz on Friday said there is a key player in that national championship game that will enter the portal within the next week. So it was pretty fascinating. Apparently, we're about to see a lot more movement, which made me feel a little better about that right tackle spot. Tells me that there's some players that are going to be available that people aren't expecting.
Apparently, Zach is entering the transfer portal. He said he's going back. He's thinking about quitting and going back to coaching.
Just wants that buyout life.
That's right. Mr. Jones said he thinks that Harbaugh might be leaving for the NFL. I'd say that's a pretty good shot.
Which also, that's another thing. What that also does, number one, it creates a domino effect because Brian Kelly will immediately take that Michigan job if it's available, which opens up a job at LSU. But here's the deal. If a head coach leaves, the portal opens for 30 days for every guy on that roster. So if Harbaugh jumps for the NFL, the entire Michigan roster has a 30-day window in the portal. If Brian Kelly takes the Michigan job, now every LSU player has a 30-day window in the portal. So all of a sudden, that's that domino effect that's going to take place. All of a sudden, there's a lot of really good players who are going to be looking around.
Man, yeah, talk about dominoes. I mean, that could end up with just a chain reaction of all these different teams because you got to replace it with another coach.
Right. And if LSU's out there looking, they're not gonna take a chance on mid-major guy. They're gonna go poach a big name from somebody else. So now that school has a 30-day open portal. Like there's gonna be a domino effect here that's gonna be pretty massive.
Zach said, I love how no matter what we're talking about, it always circles back to football. I agree. Mr. Jones said Brew is going to be huge for Nico. Glad he's back next year. 100% agree with that. Absolutely. Tri-City's all said it. Is it true that Hurd only wants to play left tackle, or could he or Campbell play on the right side? I'm not sure. I haven't heard if he only wants to play left. I'm not sure.
John Campbell projects as an NFL left tackle, so they're not going to move him. Lance Hurd's going to have to play right tackle if he comes to Tennessee.
Carl said we need Josh Mancuso interviewing Kirby Connell. Absolutely. 100. Yeah. That is a genius idea. That is a brilliant idea.
And Xander Sechrist. A lot of people don't know that about him. Xander's the life of the locker room.
Trustees have all said if Brian Kelly leaves, Kiffin may go to LSU.
It's possible.
That's very possible. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to do this. We're going to let Rustin go to bed. I got to go down and do some more stuff where I can go to bed. I'm up in our bonus room. That's my studio area. It's about my studio is the shelves behind me. That's my studio.
you've got a flooded bathroom waiting on you.
That is exactly correct. For those who are just joining us, my middle school age son may or may not have flooded the floor in our bathroom, taking a shower earlier. So I stopped it up as much as I could for literally 10 minutes before we went live. And so now I got to go back down and finish that. But
before we sign off, you need to read Carl's comment he just posted because that's priceless.
Carl said, if Brian Kelly goes to Michigan, will he be taking his fam?
Now you got to say it the right way.
My family. That's a good one, Carl. That's good. He said, thanks, bros. Hey, we appreciate you, Carl. We appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We hope all of you have a great evening. Rustin, hope you get some good sleep. And Rustin is the first person ever to stay in that hotel room brand new hotel somewhere on the Georgia-South Carolina border. So glad you get to be having that honor of staying there. That's pretty cool. Fort Rev 1, thanks for joining us, buddy. He said, go Big Orange. Absolutely. Mr. Jones said, go Vols. Absolutely. Thursday night, Rustin, you good for Thursday night?
Yep.
Sounds good to me. Eric said, have a good night, Vol Bros. Absolutely. I do have a business meeting at 7:00 Thursday night for a conference that I got to go to and take video and photography at. I'm assuming it'll be done by 9:00, but we'll go live Thursday night. Surely it'll be done before 9:00. So that'll hopefully that'll happen. Zach said, have fun, Evan, cleaning the bathroom. Yep, absolutely. Super excited about that. Carl said, much love, guys. We appreciate you, Carl.
At least
love
it
you
was
too, man. We appreciate it.
It was the tub that flooded it and not a toilet.
Amen. Absolutely. That water was all over the floor. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was literally some standing water. I was like, this is fantastic. So hope everybody has a great evening. Go Vols, and we will see you all very, very soon.